Officer Jake, patrolling the quiet suburban streets, couldn't believe his luck when he stumbled upon a suspicious figure fumbling with a package on someone's porch. But before we start, make sure to subscribe if you haven't and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Officer Jake had spotted someone acting suspiciously on the porch of one of the houses in the street, and at first, he thought it was probably the person who lived in this house. However, soon it became clear that that was not the case at all. This person was wearing a hoodie and fumbling with a package that had been delivered on the porch. Officer Jake figured that this was a package thief, but he would soon find out that his assumption was wrong. Officer Jake yelled, "What do you think you are doing?" The thief froze and immediately put his hands up in the air. Officer Jake was kind of surprised that the thief hadn't tried to escape, but it would all make sense soon. "Turn around and put your hands where I can see them. What's going on here?" he asked the guy. It's not what it looks like," the thief stammered. "You need to call for backup, right now." Officer Jake just laughed, shaking his head. "Yeah, sure, buddy. Let's take you to the police station. There's plenty of backup waiting for you there," he replied with a big grin on his face. Okay. I'll check what's inside the package, but only under one condition. You have to wait in the car." The man's eyes lit up and he said, Yes, of course." So he guided the man to the car and locked the doors once he sat down in the back seat, and then he turned back to the package. Officer Jake walked up the porch and stood still right in front of the box. He wondered, "What will I find inside here?" He grabbed the package and ran back to the car as soon as he could. The thief was still waiting for him in the car. He did not dare to speak a word and waited for the officer to say something, but the officer seemed to have forgotten that he had company. He only said 3 simple words, but to the thief, they meant more than you could ever imagine. "I believe you." The man sighed and asked the officer, "So what are we going to do now?" It was quiet for a moment again until the officer replied, "I'll take you to the station for a statement, and we'll see what we will do from there." When they finally arrived and made their way into the police station, the thief said, "I'm Samuel, by the way. You can call me Sam." Officer Jake nodded and said, "Well, Sam, let's get you into an interrogation room." "Sam, let me start with the obvious question. How did you know what was inside this package?" he asked. "Honestly, I did not. I had a hunch, but I wasn't 100% sure until I opened it. That's why I needed to check first. I needed to look inside to see for myself, and as it turns out, I was right." Sam sounded confident and did not feel the need to defend himself. "I had a hunch," Sam began, but Daniel cut him off, not giving him a chance to finish. Daniel leaned back, rubbing his temple. "A hunch? Really?" His eyes, sharp and probing, studied Sam, searching for any sign of deceit. "You expect me to believe that?" Daniel said, with a mix of skepticism and frustration. Grateful for the opportunity, Sam drew in a shaky breath, preparing to share everything. "That day, I was just delivering groceries," Sam began. He delved into the events leading up to his discovery of the package, leaving no detail out. Each memory, each moment was shared in the hopes of conveying his innocence. "I just felt something was off," he concluded, eyes pleading with Jake to believe him. Jake sat still, absorbing every word. He looked deep in thought, weighing Sam's story against what he knew. Sam held his breath, hoping that this officer, so quiet until now, would finally see the truth. Without a word, Jake stood and left the room. The weight of what could be a grim future pressed down on him, squeezing the air from his lungs. The fear of the unknown had never felt so real. The door creaked open, breaking the oppressive silence. Jake and Daniel walked in, faces stoic, giving nothing away. Sam's heart raced, his palms sweaty as he tried to read the officer's expressions. Jake nodded, his earlier silence replaced by a tone of respect. "Your story remained consistent, Sam. Your sincerity has shone through." A bridge of trust began to form, the earlier suspicion melting away. Sam felt a warmth spread through him, a satisfaction that came from being believed. As they talked, Daniel dropped hints. "This case, it's bigger than we thought, and we could use someone with your perspective." Sam's eyebrows raised, realizing his journey with this mysterious package and the police was far from over. The dynamics in the room had shifted dramatically. What started as an interrogation was now a conversation among allies. Sam, once a suspect, now sat with the police, brainstorming and strategizing. Jake leaned forward, his eyes piercing. "Sam, given the circumstances, we believe you can help us catch the real culprits." Joining forces with the police was beyond anything he had ever imagined. A new chapter begins, their motives aligned, and the three were now united in their mission to uncover the truth and bring the real culprits to justice. Taking a deep breath, Sam began detailing the unusual encounters and activities he'd observed in town. Daniel and Jake listened intently, scribbling notes and making connections. "I never intended to steal," Sam began, voice shaking. "It was just... something seemed off about that delivery man." He described how curiosity had led him to take the package and the profound shock when he uncovered its illicit contents. Linking incidents and clues, Sam sketched a disturbing picture. A network of criminals, expertly organized and operating right under everyone's nose. The realization dawned that this wasn't just about a stolen package. They were onto something much bigger, more perilous. That name, Raven's Claw. "Does it mean anything to you?" Sam asked hesitantly. Both officers exchanged glances. It was the name they'd heard in hushed tones, a missing piece in their investigation. With Sam's intel, the blurry image they had was now coming into sharp focus. "You're not the only one who's seen these signs," Jake admitted, surprising Sam. The officer elaborated on a series of reports about suspicious activities, unknown vehicles, and missing persons. With the plan in motion, Jake, Daniel, and Sam settled into unmarked cars, concealing their presence. The street was dimly lit, with only the faint glow of streetlights punctuating the darkness. Sam pointed out a frequently used drop point, and they positioned themselves for an optimal view, ensuring they wouldn't be seen. The night wore on, each passing minute stretching longer than the last. Suddenly, the silhouette of a figure appeared, wearing a distinct hoodie Sam had mentioned earlier. Methodically, the figure approached a house, glancing around before placing a package on the porch. Before the figure could disappear, Daniel and Jake moved quickly, converging on the drop point while Sam relayed their movements. Seizing the package, they swiftly confirmed the grim contents. As dawn broke, the cells were filled with members of the ring, and their reign of terror halted. The following weeks were a blur of court appearances, testimonies, and justice being meted out. The culprits faced the full weight of the law, with many serving lengthy sentences. Sam, once a mere observer, had now played a pivotal role in delivering justice, turning the tide against the criminals. As news outlets picked up the story of the massive drug bust, the city buzzed with talk of the unlikely hero at its center. Residents, now safer due to the elimination of a major drug ring, expressed their deep appreciation. For Sam, what began as a simple act of curiosity had transformed into a journey of valor and community gratitude. In a press conference, the police chief took a moment to specifically acknowledge Sam's crucial role. "Our city owes a debt of gratitude to a brave civilian," he declared, pointing to Sam. Sam was handed an honorary plaque, his smile beaming brighter than the flash of the cameras capturing the moment. As the festivities subsided, Sam, lost in thought, gazed at the station's emblem. With newfound respect for law enforcement and a taste for justice, he pondered the idea of a career alongside those he'd come to admire. The allure of being on the right side of the law was tempting, and the possibility hung in the air.